expecting to see a matchup of Kennedy. It may come, but it won't come till later in the ball game because he will not start Dave Kennedy. He will play first base.
And this may be a surprise to the Brearley Bears. You found out last night, but yes, it will be Tim Vinges, a sophomore left-hander, starting for Glen Ridge. And possibly the Bears, when they came out today to watch Glen Ridge practice, well, they were a little bit surprised by that.
Vinge is only a sophomore. He comes in undefeated at 4-0. He'll throw a fastball and a curveball. Now, the reason that Lou Calderon made the change, if you saw the GNT semifinal game, you realize that Dave Kennedy was rather wild in that game against Cedar Grove. And he feels that Brearley will sit back. The word is out, he's wild. They'll sit back, take a couple of pitches, and if they get on, Kennedy does not have the ability to hold the runners as close as Vinges does, since Vinges is a left-hander. So you put that all together, he feels we'll start the sophomore lefty. He's more of a control pitcher, at least this year he has been more so than Kennedy. Hopefully that'll catch Brearley off guard. If they do get some people on, he can hold them a little closer because he is the left-hander, and with Scott Egan behind the plate, if they do try to go, the combination of a lefty pitcher and a strong arm, he feels they can take them off the base paths.
And on the offensive side, with Egan and Melito at the top of the order, Lou Calderon hopes to run against the Brearley Bears.
So it should be an interesting matchup as Brearley takes on Glen Ridge. The winner advances to the semifinal round of the Group 1 playoffs. The loser goes home for the summer. We'll be back with all the action right after this.
This is a war zone, Brandell High, and this is the principal.
Who do you think you are, Dirty Harry or somebody?
I want you to think of the school as a home away from prison.
No more gang intimidation, arson, robbery, rape, no more!
This is my school. I make the rules.
James Belushi is the principal.
If you come back tomorrow, you're going home in a body bag.
For hard-hitting action, don't miss James Belushi in The Principal. Easy to order on Viewer's Choice.
Hi, I'm Jonathan B. Bell from Z100.
And I'm Molly Barber, along with Mickey Mouse, Marie Osmond, and John Schneider. We're here at Disneyland, where with your help, dreams really do come true, on June 4th and 5th.
It's the Children's Miracle Network Telethon, the world's largest effort to help children.
You'll meet some of the greatest stars anywhere and also see some kids from Children's Hospital of New Jersey and Children's Specialized Hospital in Mountainside.
And remember, 100% of your contribution stays right here in New York and New Jersey.
So join us live at Disneyland on Suburban Cablevision, TV3, and CTN.
And remember,
it's a small world after all.
Steve Mayer, congratulations, the Ace Award. I didn't think you can do it. From all of us here at GL, you're the best kid.
Well, congratulations on your Systems Ace Award.
Yeah, it really looks neat.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
You know, all the coaches and the players in our area made this thing possible, and just a pleasure to finally have it in our hands.
Great, great. It'll keep your door open, too.
Overcast afternoon at George Johnson Field. There was just a slight drizzle that fell about 15 minutes ago, and it may drizzle on and off, but should not have an effect on today's game. The Brearley Bears have taken the field already. We had so much rain over the last 2 weeks that the infield at shortstop has just a little bit of a soft area. Joe Capizano, the Brearley shortstop, was speaking with you before the game, Paul, and he said he's going to play that area, which is soft, a little differently.
He's going to try and play in the mud because he feels the grass will slow the ball down so much that it won't reach the mud. So he said he's going to try and play up a little bit, at least for the early going.
And in defense of the grounds crew here, beyond that area at shortstop, this field is in just perfect condition. It is absolutely gorgeous, George Johnson Field. Let's meet the batting order for the visitors from Glen Ridge. And though they came in the higher seed in this tournament, they lost a coin flip at the start, and so therefore they are the visiting team as Brearley elected to be the home club. Scott Egan will lead things off. He catches. Batting in the number 2 hole is Mark Melito, the shortstop. Dave Kennedy will bat third. He'll play first base. The pitcher, sophomore Tim Vinges, will bat in the cleanup position. Kane Diamond plays right field. He bats number 5, followed by Steve Claps, the left fielder. In the number 7 hole is Paul Santoro, the second baseman. Kyle Scherzer will bat 8th and play center field. And the designated hitter, Rick Foster, will bat 9th. He's DHing for the third baseman, Chris Gurney.
Defensively for the Bears of Brearley High School, there's Gary Foucher. He'll be playing first base. Second baseman with the knee brace, Scott Holzapfel. And around at short, we already saw him. Hopefully standing out of the mud is Joe Capizano. And around at third is Brian Chalensky. Checking the outfield in left, Vito Castaldo with the fence just beyond him. In center field is Ken Kinney. And with a lot of room to cover out in right field because there are no fences, it's as much as you can get when you hit that ball to right field. There is Pat Olenek. Behind the plate for the Bears, Mike Vergora. And out on the mound, we've spoken of him already today, Mike Chelensky. Three-sport star for the Brearley Bears this season, 8-0. His ERA under 1 at 0.77. 54 innings of work. He has struck out 78 and walked 13. Only 6 earned runs in 54 1/3 innings.
Shutouts, Paul, over Middlesex, Roselle Park, Hillside, and Elizabeth. The last two coming in the Union County tournament. That 2-0 win over Elizabeth came in the semifinal round. In the win over Hillside, Chelensky struck out 18 while throwing a no-hitter.
Ralph LeConte, the head coach of the Brearley Bears. And Lou Calderon in charge of the Ridgers of Glen Ridge. And Scotty Egan steps in, and we are set for Section 2, Group 1 Championship Baseball.
Egan steps in with a .547 average, 5 home runs, a team-high 43 runs batted in, and the first pitch is high for a ball. Chelensky can throw the ball in the high 80s. An outstanding fastball, will throw a change, does not have much, if any, of a curveball.
And that is what Glen Ridge is banking on. They feel, at least Lou Calderon does, that Chelensky's style is similar to Pete Estrada, the outstanding pitcher from Irvington High School of last year, who Glen Ridge hit well in last year's GNT championship. And you almost got the feeling, based on what you spoke with Lou Calderon, that Egan and maybe others are up there until they get a strike, not even needing the baseball bats.
2-1 the count to the senior catcher, Scott Egan. Swings and misses through the fastball. It's 2-2. Egan not only leads the team in runs batted in, he also is high in stolen bases with 31. Another reason that he has moved to the top of the order. You talked about that, Paul, in the open. He and Melito with outstanding speed. 2-2 pitch. Fastball popped foul down the first base side and out of play. The home plate umpire is Greg Molinaro, and on the bases, Ralph Rotondo.
And Craig Molinaro wants everyone to know that he needs a couple of baseballs. As we mentioned also in the open, Scott Egan drafted by the White Sox. No one really knows whether his future lies at catcher, but he certainly has the bat and the speed.
Inside, it's full at 3-2. Mark Melito awaits his turn on deck. There's the sophomore shortstop awaiting his turn against Mike Chelensky. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Bounces in the plate, and Egan has drawn a leadoff walk, and that's a bit of a surprise because Mike Chelensky is a control pitcher. That's just his 14th walk in 54 1/3 innings of work.
And if the pregame plan holds, expect to see Egan go on either the first or second pitch.
We'll see whether or not he does wait a pitch and whether or not Lou Calderon waits to see whether or not Chelensky has his control here. Melito batting .329 with 20 runs batted in. Egan goes. The first pitch is a strike to throw down. Not in time. Yes! They say they got him. Initially, Ralph Rotondo called him safe and then called him out.
You'll see it on the replay. Egan off with the pitch. Chelensky's fastball, a good pitch to handle. Egan tried to go under. Holzapfel on the grab was up the line a little bit, and the tag is there in time.
What we did not see in that replay is the indication safe, then out. Scott Egan complained about the call. Lou Calderon complained, but the runner erased, and the pitch swung on and missed by Melito. It's 0-2. So, Glen Ridge trying to run early, but Vergora throwing a strike down to second, and the runner called out. Fastball on the outside corner for a call, strike 3.
So no more than a minute and a half ago, the early momentum was on Glen Ridge's side, but now after the thrown out runner and this pitch on the corner, the tide turns a little bit back towards the Brearley Bears.
2 down, nobody on for Dave Kennedy. Fastball for a call strike. Kennedy leads the team with a .550 batting average. 5 home runs, that ties him with Scott Egan, and with 31 runs batted in, he's second on the team. Change up, and Kennedy way out in front. It's 0-2.
A pitch you won't see very often from Mike Chelensky, but this time thrown to perfection. Watch this, he takes a lot off of it, and then that ball will start to drop down.
One and two.
Chelensky has the problem of that cap always falling off on the follow-through that happened so often during the UCT final.
Fastball, he just got a piece of it. Count holds at 1-2. Dave Kennedy headed to Wake Forest on a baseball scholarship, a member of Glen Ridge's Group 1 state championship basketball team. In fact, Mark Melito also on that club. Fastball, Vigora tried to bring it back in. It's 2-2.
Well, Vigora's not real happy to see the TV3 cameras here. The last time we televised Brearley against New Providence, he took a beating both behind the plate and on the base paths. And on that last pitch that Kennedy fouled off right into the mask.
Solid shot, but pulled foul down the left field side. He got all of it, but got around just a little too quickly.
Vito Castaldo will chase it down all the way down the hill. Just below the hill is another smaller athletic field here at Parsippany High School. Among the things that are contested down there, the shot put in the discus.
Count holds at 2-2 to Dave Kennedy. Mike Vigora takes a couple of steps out and says, let's take a look at that ball.
And that one did get out of here in a hurry. Not much breeze right now. And Vigora, he's just waiting for Castaldo. Earlier in the day, particularly during that rainstorm that you mentioned, there was a slight breeze coming in from left field.
Two count, 2 out, top half of the first inning. Change up, grounded hard and through the hole into left field. First hit of the ball game, and Kennedy with a runner on.
Well, we were all curious to see what Chelensky would come back with after the long shot by Kennedy. Came with the off-speed pitch, and Dave Kennedy held his ground and just drilled it between short and third. Kennedy is on. Chelensky and Vigora have a short meeting. Dave Kennedy also a threat to go. 20 stolen bases.
Tim Vinges, the pitcher, batting cleanup, 472 with 30 runs batted in. He has steadily moved up in the order. This batting order change took place after the loss to Cedar Grove. Lou Calderon said they had considered making the changes earlier, but the team had been winning, and you don't want to break up a winning streak. However, once the loss came, they did change the order around. Kennedy does not go, and the pitch is a ball.
2 out stolen base, an often used weapon in baseball, because you realize that if you get the runner safely there, in this case, your cleanup hitter sells a shot. If Kennedy is thrown out, you start off with your leadoff hitter. With your cleanup hitter, excuse me.
Gary Foucher holding on. The runner does not go, and the ball's fouled off. It's 1-1. Kane Diamond on deck. Scott Egan led the ball game off with a walk. He was thrown out trying to steal. Mark Melito then struck out looking on 3 pitches before Kennedy grounded a base hit to left. 18 years Lou Calderon has been coaching this Glen Ridge club.
Now, interestingly enough, if Kennedy were pitching today, he might not be running. Conserve his strength a little bit in the first inning. But since he is going to be starting at least at first base, well, let's see if he goes.
He does go. Off-speed pitch is a called strike. The throw not in time as Kennedy in there safely took out Scott Holzapfel a little bit with the slide. Holzapfel okay, and a runner in scoring position with 2 down.
Kennedy got a real good start.
Good pitch to go on, too.
The changeup that Mike Chelensky has shown several times today. And with the good jump, Kennedy is in.
Kennedy at 6'4", about 215 pounds, holds Apple about 5'10", maybe 160. 1-2 the count to Vinges. And it's 2-2. This is the second time we have seen Mike Chelensky. My second time in person. Actually, for you, Paul, the third time. We saw him earlier, you did, in the New Providence game. Then we saw him, you and I, against Rawway at the UCT. Fastball swung through, and the second strikeout recorded by Mike Chelensky, and that'll do it in the inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, and one left. After 1/2 inning of play, Glen Ridge fails to score, and upcoming now, the Brearley Bears. What I was going to say, Paul, is that in the win over Rawway, although he did look very good in, I guess he struck out 8 batters, he probably threw more pitches in that game than he had in most other games. At least that's the report we had gotten, that might have been his quote-unquote worst game, an 8-1 victory with like 8 strikeouts.
Angelo Corbo, the Glen Ridge assistant coach, just having a slight chat with Ralph Rotondo about possibly Egan's steal and the consequent out call. Brearley leads off with Joe Capizano, the shortstop. Gary Foucher, the second baseman, hits first baseman, excuse me. Mike Chelensky, the pitcher, batting in the 3 spot. Cleanup hitter is Vito Castaldo, the left fielder. He's followed by Ken Kinney, the center fielder. Hitting 6th is Mike's younger brother, Brian Chelensky, at third base. Mike Vigura, the catcher, bats 7th. He's followed by right fielder Pat Olenek, and batting 9th, Scott Holzapfel, the second baseman.
Big Dave Kennedy down at first base. The second baseman is Paul Santoro. Those two are seniors. Underclass left side of the infield, Mark Melito, the sophomore, at shortstop. And down at third base is junior Chris Gurney. In the outfield, a sophomore and left, Steve Claps. In center field, senior Kyle Scherzer. And around and right, another senior, Kane Diamond. Scott Egan behind the plate. He'll be calling the pitches today for sophomore Tim Vinges. Vinges undefeated at 4-0, 0.60 earned run average. Vinges with a fastball and a curveball in his repertoire. Good control, as you can tell by the statistics. Striking out over a batter per inning, giving up just 5 walks in 23 1/3 innings pitched. Tough situation for the sophomore. Mark Melito started on Tuesday in the win over New Providence in the state playoff game. And, of course, Kennedy pitched last Saturday. So they weren't going to come back with Melito. They elected not to pitch Kennedy, at least not to start him. So they had to go to the sophomore. And I asked Lou Calderon, how is he, nervous, big game? He said, we can't tell when he's nervous. We can't tell when he's happy. His demeanor is always the same. One thing we can say, he always asks for the ball. He always wants to pitch. And that's the kind of attitude you want out there. Joe Capizano will lead things off as Vinges concludes his warm-up tosses.
Now, as opposed to Mike Chelensky, who, when he misses a strike, seems to be missing high, it appears just from warm-ups that Vinges will most often miss low. He's been throwing a lot of breaking balls in the earlier warm-up and just now. We'll have to see if that trend continues when there are batters in there.
Ralph LeConte will man the third base coaching box. Bill Nickel, the junior varsity coach, will man the first base side. Capizano batting .412 with 3 home runs and 11 runs batted in. Lost in all the hoopla and media attention placed on Mike Chelensky is the fact that this is a senior-dominated, solid baseball club. Capizano, one of the reasons for the success. And the first pitch, down low for a ball.
Only 3 starting juniors on the defensive team for Brearley, Castaldo, Olenek, and Brian Chelensky. Ralph LeConte manning the third base coaching box for the Bears.
1-1 the count to Capizano. Capizano, an outstanding fielding shortstop, one of the best around. Real smooth out there. Swings the good stick, too, at .412. Just misses. It's 2-1. Capizano with good extra base power. We showed you the 3 home runs. He's also got 3 doubles and 3 triples. A good sign for a leadoff batter. He's drawn 22 walks. And the breaking pitch drops in there. It's 2-2.
Quick discussion between Scott Egan and Tim Vinges. Possibly a sign mix-up, although earlier in the game that's hard to believe. They might just be talking about location.
Playing fairly shallow in left field is Steve Claps. Scherzer playing in a little short too in center. Here's the 2-2. Breaking pitch misses outside.
Well, Egan nods in agreement, so that might have been what they were talking about, the location of the pitch. And there's a look at Claps in left field. Playing fairly shallow. We estimate that fence to be about 300 feet straight down the line.
Call strike 3. Capizano started toward first, and now he'll take a brief and abrupt right-hand turn and go to the bench.
So Capizano tries to steal one from the home plate umpire here, but that ball just kept tailing in. And at the knees, Capizano is gone, 1 away.
With 1 down, Gary Foucher will step to the plate. Foucher batting .375. Fastball hits the corner. It's 0-1. Breaking pitch. Did he hold up? No, he did not. The appeal down to the base umpire, and Ralph Rotondo says no.
And I think it was a good call. It appeared that Foucher, and you'll see it on the replay, the intent is there. And I think he went around.
Count holds at 0-2 as he fouls it off. Mike Chelensky on deck. Just to set the story straight, Chelensky struck out 9 batters, not 8, in the victory over Rahway in the UCT. It was a 4-hitter for him, a complete game victory. One and 2 the count to Foucher. Mark Melito, the Glen Ridge shortstop, copying a page from Joe Capizano, also playing in that muddy area. Breaking pitch swung on and missed. That thing fell off the table.
That thing took a sharp drop and a sharp right-hand turn. Watch it on the replay. As Vinges cranks it up, and it keeps coming inside, and Foucher goes for it. 2 up, 2 strikeouts for Tim Vinges.
And that'll bring up Mike Chelensky. 4 home runs and 17 runs batted in for the big senior. He hit one against Rahway that still has not landed. He and his brother hit 2 solid home runs in that ball game. Grounder, right side, handled by Santoro. And a 1-2-3 inning for sophomore Tim Vinges. So we have completed 1 full inning of play. We're scoreless.
About food, it's a cycle with me. I don't know, like a lot of people, you get in a cycle where nothing but food is on your mind. The other night I sat down to write a letter, I wrote a menu. I remember one time I was making love, the moment of passion, I yelled out another woman's name, Sarah Lee. I tell you, Mrs. Paul's pissed now. I got my eye on Mama Celeste anyway, so.
It's about a half-hour ride, I'd say, from Glen Ridge to Parsippany. Take off down 280, get off at Edwards Road, look for Smithfield and make a right. And that's where Parsippany High School is located. A little bit longer of a ride for the Brearley fans. But then again, Kenilworth, which is where Brearley High School is located right off of the Parkway. And so not a difficult ride at all.
Slight delay here since Mike Chelensky was the last out of the inning. Took him a while to get to the bench, get his glove, and make his way out to the field. Man, I had mentioned to you that during warm-ups, and I'm certainly not a rah-rah type guy, but I thought both teams were flat. Nobody really had much enthusiasm. That certainly was not the case in the first inning. Both benches were up, the fans were up. It became a much more exciting game just through 1 inning, and that's a mark of 2 good teams They don't need to show the rah-rah stuff in practice. Save it till the game begins.
It did seem, however, as Glen Ridge was coming off the field after Vinge's performance in the first, they were a little animated, huddling around Lou Calderon. Here's Kane Diamond, and the first pitch, a fastball, sails back to the backstop.
And you brought up a good reason why. Felt that the team was thinking about Vinges, again, possibly their number 3 pitcher, but he went through the Brearley order 1, 2, 3.
Right down the chute, it's 1-1. Well, I think that certainly injected a big boost to their spirits. Off-speed pitch, 1-2.
Now, you're right, we don't get a chance to see a pitcher like a Mike Cholensky, or for that matter, any team, that many times during a year. But this is the most off-speed pitches, more than we thought we would see.
There's a fastball for a call, strike 3. Third strikeout recorded by Mike Cholensky. And for Cholensky, that's strikeout number 81 on the year.
And the second batter he has picked up looking, hard pitch, right around the knees, and that one's going to be tough to hit even if the batter goes for it.
One down for Steve Claps. Claps, another sophomore. There are 3 starting on the field. A 4th, Rick Foster, acting as a DH. Hits the same corner. It's 0-1.
And that's one thing that I have noticed that Mike Cholensky does. He uses the ladder well. He will throw that fastball, and I don't know whether it has much movement on it or not, but he throws it high, medium, and low.
Just misses. 1-1 to Claps. Claps also plays soccer for Glen Ridge. Goes after the high, hard one. It's 1-2.
There's an example. The strikeout pitch to Diamond was down close to the knees. That pitch, you'll get a look at it, up in the letters or above.
Swung on and missed. And the 4th strikeout recorded by Cholensky, his 3rd consecutive strikeout, and there are 2 down.
For the Glen Ridge Ridgers, one of their theories that they may draw the walk on Cholensky, not coming true. That pitch, a strike, something that Claps had to go for.
2 down, and Paul Santoro takes a pitch inside for a ball. Well, they're also swinging at some pitches that are balls. Santoro with a 3.08 average. Solid hitting club, Glen Ridge, batting .392 as a team. Squares and takes it 2-0.
Tough for batters to not swing at that pitch that is in the eyes. It's obviously a lot easier to see than something coming down at knee level. You feel you can hit it easier.
And it's 3-0. So after striking out the first 2 batters in this inning, and doing so on just 8 pitches, he throws 3 straight balls to Santoro. And a walk, the 2nd of the ball game issued by Cholensky. Two down and a runner on, and Kyle Scherzer will come to the plate.
Santoro only 5 stolen bases this year, so we may not think he is a threat to go. Excuse me, 8 steals.
Ball almost thrown away, and Foucher grabs it. I think I said earlier that Scherzer was a senior. He is a junior. DH on last year's club. Well, Cholensky has lost the strike zone just for a moment here. On deck, Rick Foster. There's a call, strike, 1-1.
Now the 2-out stolen base theory we talked about earlier when Kennedy was on does not hold as true at this moment. because you don't want to have that man thrown out and then lead things off with your another 8 hitter.
Just got a piece of it, throw down to first. And Santoro back. 1-2 the count to Scherzer.
Guro catching the ball right off the bat on the foul tip. So since it was still a live ball, he had a chance to throw down.
Santoro drew a 2-out walk, taking his lead. Fastball swung on and missed, and so he strikes out the side. 5th strikeout recorded by Chilinsky. We have completed an inning and a half, no score.
Do not attempt to tune your television set. Instead, tune into this message. If your business were advertising in this spot right now, your potential customers would be learning about your goods and services on this channel. We can come up with an ad plan for you that can be far less expensive than what you're currently spending in the newspaper or on radio. Dare us to back up that claim. Call our advertising department, 750-9210. If you don't think anyone's watching, what are you doing right now?
The Brearley Bears 20-3 this year. And when they defeated Manville 15-12 6 games ago, they captured the Mountain Valley Conference Valley Division Championship. And the winner was Chilinsky. Oh, no, not Mike Chilinsky. Brian Chilinsky.
Ralph Licanti now in his 2nd year at Brearley after a short coaching stint at Belleville High School. 35-10 at the Union County School. Ralph was involved on the losing side of a GNT championship game. That was one of the reasons he said he felt so good about winning last Saturday in the Union County final. Having been to the final of a county tournament before, he felt he was deserving of a victory.
One of the few coaches to go to both county finals. Gordon Lamatti from Union won the GNT when it was more of a statewide invitational tournament. And of course, Union has also won the Union County tournament. But very few have gotten to the final of both. Here's Vito Castaldo to lead off the 2nd inning. Facing sophomore left-hander Tim Vinges, who retired Brearley 1-2-3, and the first pitch taken for a strike. Castaldo, with that .342 batting average, does get the bat on the ball, has walked just twice and only struck out 5 times. So a good contact hitter with 27 hits and 79 tries. Breaking pitch, 0-2.
Unfortunately for Vito, he has a small piece of the thumb cut. I believe it is on his right hand. Here's a replay of that pitch as the curve starts to drop. Another one of those batting gloves. He has the thumb bandaged up from an accident in school.
Home ec class.
Cut himself cutting out apples. It's a dangerous thing, high school.
I always thought home ec class was a tough one. 1-2 to Castaldo. No score in what has so far been a pitcher's duel. Breaking pitch to center field, and it falls in front of Scherzer for a base hit. Scherzer came in and then decided that he wasn't going to be able to make the play and had to handle a short hop.
And Castaldo almost had himself an extra base hit. He goes up for this pitch, drills it to center. Now watch the non-hop. Ball actually hits and skips off the outfield grass, but Scherzer grabs it at his ankles. First hit for the Bears.
Castaldo not a threat to go as Ken Kinney steps up. Castaldo with just 2 stolen bases this year. Kinney wrapping the ball at a .353 pace. 4 doubles, no home runs. Back to the mound. Vinges played a second in time. And Castaldo not running all that quickly. And when the ball was fielded by Vinges, it was an easy play as Melito was covering.
So Kinney's attempt to sacrifice results in an out. Vinges quickly off the mound, and a good call from Egan to go to second base.
Ralph LeConte trying to build for a run, but the sacrifice attempt backfires. Kinney at first, but one down for Brian Chelensky. Toss over, and Kinney back in time. Chelensky, batting .339, has one home run. That came last Saturday in the Union County Tournament final. He's got 14 runs batted in.
Brian is actually almost 2 years younger than Mike because of the way their birthdays fall and the result on the school calendar year and when you can go into school. Brian, as we said, is almost 2 years younger than Mike Chelensky. So he may still have some growing to do. And Kitty chasing the gnats away at first base. And I'll tell you, they're bothering us.
Just misses. 1-1 to Chelensky.
Saturday night, Brian hit a mammoth arcing homer in the second inning of the Union County Tournament game.
Vinges throws to first, and they just miss it. Kinney getting back in time, but a good move shown by Vinges. One of the reasons why he is starting today over Dave Kennedy, the lefty with the better move to first than a right-hander. 2-1 now to Chelensky. Chelensky has drawn 18 walks. He has also struck out 15 times. Good time to try a hit and run. Runner does not go, swung on and missed. It's 2-2. Melito and Santoro at double play depth. Gurney playing 2 or 3 steps back of third. Fastball high, it's 3-2. Kinney with good speed has stolen 11 bases in 13 tries. As we take a look at the left-hand side of the Glen Ridge infield. Claps playing fairly deep in left. Fouled out of play on the first base side. Count holds at 3-2.
Not much room in foul territory here, maybe just 15, 20 feet on each side of the field. You see those people behind first base. They are standing on the out-of-play line.
Runner holds, and ball 4, and a walk issued to Chelensky. First walk of the ball game issued by Vinges. And runners at first and second, and a runner in scoring position in Ken Kinney with 1 down, and Mike Vergora coming to the plate. Vergora and Holsaffel, the 2 left-handed batting players in the lineup. Vergora is the number 7 hitter, hitting .415. Both teams can wield a big bat. Throw down to second, and a good play by Santoro as the ball was to the shortstop side. Kinney getting back in under the tag, but Santoro had to go across the bag and backhand the throw from Egan.
We know Egan is not afraid to throw coming out of the crouch to any base. And true, it did get him in trouble last Saturday in the semis, but there it almost got him an out of the lead runner.
Kinney had straight off a second. Fouled off the screen. Crowd continues to build. Good crowd on hand. Bob Martin, the athletic director at Parsippany, said that he felt that some of the local fans would come out, except that Parsippany has a big game against rival Parsippany Hills today, a game that will determine the Hills Division Championship of the Iron Hills Conference. Play on at second. They've got Kinney picked. Gurney chasing Kenny towards second. Here's the flip to Vinges, and he tags out Kinney, and Brian Chelensky did not move down to second base. So a base running blunder. Kinney did his job, getting in the rundown. Chelensky did not move down to second.
Kinney picked off here. The rundown is started. His duty now is to stay alive and to allow Brian Chelensky to move up and to be tagged out coming away from second base. So Ken Kinney did his job at this point, but unfortunately for Brian Chelensky, he did not follow up on the play.
And you saw claps at the very end of that replay at third base, so the left fielder coming into the play also doing a good job. That's 1-4-5-6-1 if you're scoring. Big play. Two down and a runner at first. Kennedy now holding on Chelensky at first. Count 1-1 to Vigora. They'll make the play to second, and that'll do it. So in the inning, there was a hit, but no one scored. One left, we've completed two, we're scoreless.
We're TV3, Suburban Cablevision, providing your community with the finest in local programming.
Brearley threatening in their half of the second inning, but they do not score. It is a scoreless ball game as we move to the top half of the third inning. Mike Chelensky has struck out 5. He has walked 2. Has given up 1 hit. That was to Dave Kennedy in the first inning. Meanwhile, Tim Vinges has struck out 2 and walked 1. And he too has given up 1 hit. That to Vito Castaldo last inning. So a pitcher's duel as we expected. Although until last night when I spoke with Lou Calderon, we thought it would be Chelensky and Kennedy. Instead, Chelensky and Vinges going at it here in the North 2 Group 1 sectional final. And to take you through the 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning is Paul Spahala.
Thank you very much, Matt Lachlan. High fives, and then a quick punch in the chest protector from Mike Chelensky to Mike Vigora.
Well, you know, they're football players. They play on the Brearley football team, and they're used to that hitting aspect.
Just a new twist on the old handshake that
Well, how about
developed into the
bash
high
ball?
five, the monster bash of the Oakland A's. Here's Rick Foster, number 9 hitter, leading it off for the Glen Ridge Ridgers here in the 3rd inning. Foster, sophomore DH, hitting .270. He's knocked in 12. One and one. Remember when it used to be enough just to shake somebody's hand after they did a good job? Now you got to almost beat them up.
Or be 45 years old, and then you will shake hands because you don't do the high five or the bashing of the forearms.
Or like the Chicago Bears headbutting. 2-1.
Well, Jim McMahon is out there.
There's always a new twist. 2-1. 3-1 now. So Chelensky throwing 3 balls to leadoff hitter Rick Foster. As Matt just mentioned, he has walked 2 already, 1 in each inning. Full count. Sky clouds up just a bit more as we enter the third inning. Fairly quickly moving game. Here's the full count pitch to Foster. Fouled off the cage.
As clouds go, though, Paul, a great view. I mean, just tremendous.
There you see the sun shining out in the west.
Spectacular view.
We're up in Morris County for the Section 2 Group 1 State Championship. Full count once again. And again, fouled off the screen. Overhanging backstop that eats the baseball. As Faguro throws his helmet, his glove.
Had the mask up there, the glove. Now the umpire will try the mask. The ball is still stuck there. How about we throw out another 275 baseball?
Oh, hungry backstop. And you never know when that ball is going to come down during play. Foster still alive after having fouled off 2 in a row. Overhanging backstop, only about 20 feet from plate to the back of the backstop. Foster goes for the high pitch, swings and misses. 6th strikeout for Mike Chelensky. 6 of the 7 outs have been Ks for the big right-hander from Brearley High School.
Took a little something off this one. Ball out of the strike zone. And Glen Ridge has gone after some pitches that have not been strikes, but Chelensky looking very good so far.
Back to the top of the order for Scott Egan. He takes a strike at the knees. Of the 6 strikeouts, 4 swinging, 2 looking. Egan drew a walk to start off the ball game and was erased on what he thought was a controversial call at second base. 1-1.
Egan, as you mentioned, Paul, earlier, drafted by the Chicago White Sox in the 7th round, and the feeling is that he will sign. He has a scholarship offer to Seton Hall. And my understanding is that the offer from Chicago is a good one, which would include some money for college should the pro career not work out.
Eddie Ford making the
FA.
Scouting report.
The FA.
On Scott Egan. Here comes the 1-1. No word, and that is the way the major leagues have operated the past few years. No word on whether Mike Chelensky was drafted.
And the reason the major leagues are so secretive, they put a lot of money into their scouting program.
2-1, popped up foul out of play.
And what had hurt them in the past is that they were certainly proud to announce who they had selected, but then there were some college coaches who were saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe this guy's a little better than we thought. We didn't see him on a good day. The majors like him. We'll come in and offer him some money as a scholarship, and the major leagues would lose him. So they were doing scouting for the colleges. So they try to keep it as close to the vest as they can.
Smash towards right field, right at Olenek. He comes in a few steps and puts the ball away for the second out.
That ball was moving away from him, Paul, and for a moment there I thought perhaps Olenek had misjudged it. He kept going to his left toward the foul line. And finally, he catches up with it and puts it away, but the ball going toward right field, the foul line.
2 away now for Mark Melito. Melito was the first strikeout victim for Mike Chelensky. Struck out looking. Of course, Mike Chelensky has already accepted a scholarship to play football at Pittsburgh. 2-0. But the major leagues hope that if they could make the right offer, they might influence his decision. Here's the 2-0 pitch. 2-1. However, Mike Chelensky is a projected starter as a freshman at linebacker.
It'll be a tough move for him. It's tough for anybody to move up to another level and start.
Skied towards right. Olenek makes a much easier grab on this ball than the previous one, and it is a 1-2-3 inning for the Brearley Bears defense. Through 2.5 innings, we are still scoreless. We're playing for the North 2 Group 1 state title.
Steve Mayer, Congratulations, the Ace Award. I didn't think you can do it. From all of us here at GL, you're the best, kid.
Well, congratulations on your Systems Ace Award. Yeah, it really looks neat.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
You know, all the coaches and the players in our area made this thing possible, and just a pleasure to finally have it in our hands.
Great, great. It'll keep your door open, too.
The Ridgers of Glen Ridge High School defeated Brearley for the sectional title in 1982. Gentleman who was coaching the Brearley Bears at that time, Carl Peterson. And he is in attendance today along the first base side.
Had Jeff Capita on the mound. There's Carl with the blue jacket on, the mustache in the middle portion of your screen.
Standing right next to John Wagner in the maroon jacket from Roselle Park High
Steve
School.
Washuta, Brearley coach to the right-hand side. And there's Eddie Ward in the background, just turned it away and now partially obscured. Now he comes out toward the left. He's got the dark blue and light blue warm-up on. Eddie Ford, an assistant coach at FDU. The last time they faced each other in the sectional final, Jeff Capita pitching for Brearley. He is now in the minor leagues, pitched for Creighton, and then got drafted in the minor leagues. And Lou Calderon remembered that year very well. He said, yeah, he had that big kid on the mound, threw those fastballs. And you know why I know it was 82? It's because we got hammered by Emerson in the next ball game.
Olenek holds that full Capizano for the Brearley Bears. Olenek steps in hitting .268.
Glen Ridge that year was the defending Group 1 champs. They won it in '81.
State Championship baseball will be June 11th. It's 2 Saturdays from when this game is being played. Several TV3 area teams still alive in the hunt for a state crown. And of course, TV3 hoping that we may be able to televise a game from Princeton.
If one of our teams get down there, we'll be there.
(3-0) to Pat Olenek, leading off the home half of the third inning. Brearley, as we've mentioned earlier, won the coin toss prior to the game with Mike Order to choose who would be the home team.
Did you get it back?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I got 30 cents back. Left-hander Vinges set to deal. Swing and a miss.
Contrast in our two pitchers, Chelensky with heat and then going at the off-speed pitch, and Vinges with good off-speed pitch and tremendous breaking ball to go with a sneaky fastball.
Payoff pitch, swing and a miss on the inside part of the plate. Vinges records his third strikeout.
Good piece of pitching. The last pitch was outside corner. Here comes the fastball inside, and it ties up Olenek.
So after trailing 3-0 to Olenek, Vinges comes back to record the strikeout. Second baseman Scott Holzapfel. .315 hitter, number 9 hitter. For some reason, there was quick warm-up action for the Brearley Bears. Tim Riley was throwing. He is now sat down. Ball fouled out of play along the third base side. There's Riley. He was just throwing lightly, which makes me wonder whether it wasn't Vergura who wanted to warm up for some reason. Holzapfel, the batter, with that big knee brace on his right knee, injured during the soccer season. And from what we have seen of him play so far, appears to have full range of motion.
Doesn't seem to have affected him at all. Probably affected his speed a little bit. The outfield has moved around toward left. Claps has come way in left field, and Scherzer has moved over toward left center. Big gap between the right fielder, Diamond, and Scherzer in center. In fact, we can't even get them in the screen together.
That's how wide apart they are playing. We're at George Johnson Field, just behind Parsippany High School. Holdzapfel drills one towards center field. Coming on is Scherzer, and he puts the ball away for the out. Scherzer took the long run in and then decided he'd wait for the third out before coming all the way to the bench.
Positioned perfectly. Breaking pitch that Holdzapfel reaches out and doesn't get all of it, sends it toward left center. Scherzer beginning his trot toward home.
2 away, back to the top of the order for Joe Capizano. Joe went down looking at a 3-2 pitch in the first inning. He thought he had drawn ball 4. He slashes this one towards right field, and it will drop in for a hit. Second base hit for the Brearley Bears. 2-out single by Joe Capizano.
Good job going opposite field. Fastball out of the over the heart of the plate. Got around late on it, but sends it toward right.
Two away, and Vinges will be facing Gary Foucher. Foucher also struck out in the first inning. He went down swinging. And now we go back to the theory of the 2-out stolen base. Capizano, 8 of 9 in stolen bases this year. Vinges, almost a wild throw. As we mentioned before, there's only about 20 feet of area behind first base, so if Kennedy had not been able to get to that ball, the odds are it would have rolled and quickly rolled out of play. First pitch to Foucher is a ball.
Vinges didn't like that call at all.
There's Big Dave Kennedy over at first base. He's trying to hold on Joe Capizano. Capizano stretching out his lead. Waiting on deck, opposing pitcher Mike Chelensky. Capizano on first, Foucher at the plate, 2 away in the home half of the third, scoreless ball game. In the dirt, knocked down by Egan. And Glen Ridge also asked for an appeal on Foucher's check swing, and the call is no swing.
Breaking pitch in the dirt, and he held up. Good call.
Ralph Rotundo making the call. Base umpire, 2-1 with 2 away. Throw back to first, and just beating it back is Capizano.
Very close play at first. Vinges has an outstanding move. High kick, and then fires, and they just miss it. Now Kennedy's playing a little in front of the base on that play. Had he been back, they might have gotten him, but still, a very fine play by Glen Ridge, just missing Capizano.
Low for ball 3.
We should point out Kennedy normally plays shortstop. He and Melito rotate. When Melito pitches, Kennedy will play short. And then Melito at short when Kennedy's on the mound.
And that's one reason why Dave Kennedy does not have a first baseman's glove. One lofted foul. Or as it should more correctly be called, a mitt. First basemen and catchers wear mitts. All other fielders wear gloves. Having been a first baseman, I know that somewhat useless piece of trivia. Full count. So the automatic start is there for Joe Capizano. And if he didn't remember, the siren will remind him that he's going to go on the 3-2.
Now, I don't know if that's the 5 o'clock siren, because it is 5 o'clock. I don't know if that goes off in Parsippany all the time, whether there's an emergency call.
But we will once again have the full count to Foucher. 2 away, so Capizano will be off with the pitch. Ball 4. And that's the second time today that Greg Molinaro has made me delay just a little bit. He makes an animated ball 4 call.
That pitch
Capizano
just
moves
missed.
up.
Yeah, that pitch just missed, and the Ridgers thought they had it. Capizano was not going on the pitch, and that really is a tribute to Vinges' move. It wasn't quite all that automatic because he does have such a high kick and can go to first. He really had to wait to make sure the ball was going toward home, so he didn't get the good jump.
So Mike Chelensky will step in, 2 on, 2 out. Timeout called by Lou Calderon.
Well, this is a guy that can hurt you big time.
Vinges looking out at his left fielder, Steve Claps. So Chelensky moves in, hit a weak opposite field grounder in the first inning, fielded by Santoro at second base. That was the last out of the first inning. Ball 1. Capizano at second base. He's there on a single and a walk, and there is Foucher, who drew the walk. No runs yet in the ball game. We are in the third inning. Here's the 1-0 to Chelensky. Outside for ball 2.
Lou Calderon might have said, let's pitch carefully around him, make him go for some bad pitches, don't put anything in his wheelhouse. Of course, Castaldo behind him, also with good power, 4 home runs, batting .342, but perhaps they don't want to get hurt by Chelensky, and they might want to take their chances with Castaldo.
Strike at the knees. Count 2-1 on the pitch. Dave Kennedy was coming around behind the runner at first, Foucher, and because of that, there was a big hole on the right side of the infield.
Chelensky thought this pitch was a ball.
And Egan might have lifted it an inch or 2 for a strike. 2-1. And that one you couldn't drop a foot, and it still would not have been in the strike zone. 3-1. One of the few times Vinges has been wild high today. As we mentioned in the open, mostly low or outside.
They have been pitching very carefully to Chelensky.
Here's the 3-1. Ball 4. Third walk, second in a row. Puts the bases full of Bears. Capizano moves down to third base. Foucher is the man in the middle, and Mike Chelensky is over at first. There's Gary Foucher. So Chelensky draws the 2-out walk to load things up, and by the way, all the damage so far has been done with 2 outs. After Olenek struck out, Holdzapfel flew out. 3 men in a row have reached. Vinges overworked this inning. This will be his 22nd pitch. It will be to Vito Castaldo. The cleanup hitter is 1 for 1. And Vito thinks he's been waiting a little bit too long for Vinges. Castaldo hit a sharp single to lead off the second inning. He was erased on a fielder's choice. Home half of the third. Castaldo swings through, strike 1.
Fans for both teams animated at this point. The Brearley fans realizing a base hit could bring in 2. And the Glen Ridge fans realize that they've got to get Castaldo out here in order to keep this scoreless tie.
Good speed on the bases for the Bears, so a hit should score 2 with 2 away. Strike two. Castaldo wants to take time out to speak with Ralph McConty.
And as he does, you realize that Vinges has been around the plate so often today that he really did pitch carefully to Cholensky, no question about it. That pitch that was high might have just slipped away, but there was no way he was going to give Cholensky a chance to rip one. And now he's ahead 0-2 on Castaldo.
Joe Cap, 90 feet away. 0-2 to Castaldo. Let's see what Vinges throws.
Setting up inside. Ooh, that just missed.
Let's see if Vinges will try inside again or go completely opposite and try and get the outside corner.
Now
here's the 1-2.
Outside.
That's what happened. Outside, Castaldo swings and misses, and the Brearley rally is snuffed out. No runs cross the plate, no hits, excuse me, 1 hit, and 3 left on. Through 3 innings, we are still scoreless in Parsippany.
Friday night.
And you know what I'm in the mood for?
Now, let me guess.
A good movie.
Well, did you know Lifetime's made Fridays a special movie night just for us?
Just for us?
Lifetime shows their best premiere movies on the Friday evening showcase presentation. A touching drama, sophisticated comedy, all our favorite stars, and delicious romance.
Oh, now that wouldn't be a hint, would it?
Now, I thought you'd never ask. Pass the popcorn.
Mark your calendars for June 4th and 5th. It's Super Debut Weekend, and it's free on the Disney Channel. You'll see Garrison Keillor's 2nd annual farewell performance live. Tap your toes to Fred Astaire. Delight to Shirley Temple in Little Miss Broadway. You'll see The Night Train to Kathmandu, an original Disney Channel premiere film. So join host Harry Anderson June 4th and 5th for Super Debut Weekend on the Disney Channel, America's family network.
As we start the 4th inning, Mike Cholensky through 3 has thrown 56 pitches. 34 of those have been strikes. He has already, through 3 innings, struck out 6, walked 2. And that is the fate of the strikeout pitcher. Even if you're not wild, you're going to throw a lot of pitches.
Well, that was a good job of pitching going back to that last inning by Vinges. He threw the ball right where Egan placed the glove. Had Brearley scored there, you get a sense that the Bears, they know that Cholensky is not going to give up a lot of runs. And the feeling is almost, if we get 1, we're going to win this game. And if we get 2, we're a lock. So a very important piece of pitching by Vinges that time. Meanwhile, Glen Ridge has to feel that they dodged a bullet. They got out of a tough situation. They avoided Cholensky. Basically, it was an intentional walk. Then they got the cleanup hitter to strike out, so they feel they got through the dangerous part, and now they've got the heart of their order coming up 3, 4, 5.
And you were just looking at the man who did that work, Tim Vinges. He is in the on-deck circle. It will be Kennedy, Vinges, and Diamond for the Ridgers.
You know, looking at Kennedy and Vinges, they look a lot alike facially. Same kind of dirty blonde hair. Same kind of features.
Well, as Dave Kennedy graduates, he may pass the torch on to the sophomore Vinges for the next 2 seasons. This should be some Glen Ridge team for the next 2 years, with Melito and Vinges as projected as their 1-2 pitchers, both being sophomores.
Clapp starts out in left field, a sophomore.
Not bad when you can win 20-plus games and know that a majority of your team is coming back.
Scherzer and Gurney are juniors. Foster, the DH, is a sophomore.
Dave Kennedy has the lone Glen Ridge hit. Ground ball single through the left side.
He also drilled a pitch deep to left field, but foul just prior to getting that base hit.
Kennedy waiting for Chelensky too long, asks for time. We're in the top half of the fourth inning. Section 2 Group 1 championship game. While we are playing this game, games are being played in North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey to determine the other 3 semifinalists that will play Tuesday. And that hit Kennedy, or did he get away from it? Well, no call, so he probably just did escape the pitch on the inside part.
Tight pitch, fastball coming inside, and he just skipped out of the way. We heard some noise. That was the ball going off the glove of Vigura.
Our vantage point is behind the right-handed hitter. At the knees for a strike. Kennedy anxious to get on. He stole a base his last time he was on.
Maybe a little low, but that pitch has been called a strike all afternoon by Molinaro. He's been calling that low outside pitch. So it's been consistent.
Rain picks up again. Here's Chelensky's pitch. Swing and a miss. And as he sits down, Dave Kennedy gets in the last word to the home plate umpire.
Smoke from Chelensky, striking out Kennedy, and then smoke from Kennedy as he complains to Molinaro about the previous pitch. But that was a high, hard one.
7th strikeout for Mike Chelensky.
Paul, we talked about the teams during their warm-ups, not very animated, not talking, but there's no question both teams are fired up.
Vinges 0 for 1. He was the 2nd strikeout victim. And although we're only early through the 2nd time in the lineup for Glen Ridge, 7 strikeouts for Mike Chelensky, 7 different players. Rain coming down once again. Try to cover up and stay dry. And if I'm not mistaken, that was Gary Foucher's jacket with the QB.
Mm-hmm. A lot of football players on this baseball team for Brearley.
Timeout called. Chelensky kicks around the dirt on the mound. He had trouble with the mound at Memorial Field in Linden last Saturday. Strikeout looking. So Vinges strikes out for the 2nd time today. 8th strikeout for Mike Chelensky. 8 out of 11 outs have been strikeouts. And
right down the middle.
No doubt about that one.
Almost as if Vinges was looking for the off-speed pitch and was fooled by the fastball, but with Chelensky, you've got to look fastball, think fastball first.
2 away for Kane Diamond. Top half of inning number 4, Glen Ridge and Brearley locked in a scoreless battle. Mike Chelensky in the short sleeve outfit, even though it is really football weather here.
It is a little cool. Mother Nature has got her seasons backwards a little bit.
Diamond has a piece of it. Before the game, I was speaking with Mike Chelensky, and I said, you know, we started the season and the weather was this cold, and he responded, we started the football season in hotter weather than this. Which is true.
That's true. We had all that rain. It was a little cool in March and early April, and it rained like heck in May. And it got very hot recently, early portion of this week, and now we're back to early spring weather.
Inside, great for the crops.
Matt Lachlan and Mr. Green Jeans on the call of this Group 1 game.
Fine. Ask me to bring tomatoes in for you. Check swing. He went around. So Chelensky strikes out the side in the 4th inning, picking up strikeouts number 7, 8, and 9. We will head for the home half of the fourth, still looking for our first run in this sectional final.
The Hitman Blunt the Blade. Monday, June 6th, Viewer's Choice presents a special live pay-per-view event, Knockout Night, with Thomas Hitman Hearns battling it out with Iran Blade Barkley for the world middleweight title. Hearns 45-2 with 39 knockouts. Barkley fresh from his stunning victory over Michael Elijah. Who will stand victorious? Get in on the action. It's only on cable. Monday, June 6th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be a knockout night.
Welcome back to Parsippany. This Sunday, the championship of the 1988 Greater Newark Tournament will be contested at Duck Geltz Field in Verona. Livingston taking on Cedar Grove. The TV3 cameras will be there. You can see all the action Sunday evening at 9:30 with a repeat performance Tuesday at 9 p.m. Sunday 9:30, Tuesday at 9. The 1988 GNT Championship. Matt Loughlin, Bill Bromberg, and myself will be on the call as Livingston, the surprise team of the tournament, takes on Cedar Grove, the team that knocked off the defending champs.
And the team that lost to Brearley 18-7 in the sectional semifinals on Tuesday. Rain coming down a little heavier now, a little steadier and a little heavier.
Projected pitching matchup, Frank Dippold for Livingston and the outstanding sophomore Rob Linfante for Cedar Grove.
Paul, while we were talking about the GNT, Greg Molinaro, the home plate umpire, called Lou Calderon and Ralph LeConte over to talk to them. Now, I'm not sure whether he said starting to rain a little heavier. We have to be aware that this is a state game, but the safety comes first. Or maybe he was saying, fellas, let's keep the emotions under control. Talk to your players. Not sure what the conversation was about. It was a little bit out of earshot, but he did draw them both over.
Ken Kinney will start it off for the Brearley Bears. He'll be followed by Brian Chelensky and Mike Vigura. 5, 6, and 7 in the batting order for the Brearley Bears. Kennedy reached on a fielder's choice in his only prior time at bat. He reached second base, but then was picked off by Vinges. Fouls this one out of play. Is it possible that that area around shortstop now will start to get worse?
Yeah, it would have to rain a little heavier than this or for a longer period of time. It's really not all that heavy. It looks worse on the pictures we're bringing to you. You see the streams of water coming through, but it's really not raining all that heavy. In fact, it's lightened up just a little bit now.
1-1 to Ken Kinney, leading off the bottom half of the fourth.
It's not going to help the situation at short, but it's not going to add to it too much.
Kinney fouls it off out of play. Kennedy will chase it and then stop as he nears the out-of-play line. There is Tom Santaguida, athletic director of Brearley Regional High School, which services the towns of Kenilworth and Garwood. Slight delay as Scott Egan catches the ball thrown in that Kinney fouled out of play. Ralph Rotondo tossing the ball in after he was given the ball by someone. Two and two the count. Kinney to be followed by Brian Chelensky. Full count. All previous state tournament games prior to this sectional final were played at the home field of the higher seeded team. The final and any games from this point on are contested at neutral sites. However, for some unusual reason, a coin flip determines the home team for this game.
I guess there's some thought, I don't agree with it, that because you play in different conferences and so on and so forth, there's no way of determining whether, in fact, you have the best team. You may have the best record, but I think you have the best record. You're seeded #1. That's it.
Payoff pitch lofted towards right and easily put away there by Diamond for the first out.
The GNT has done the same way. Coin flip held before the game to determine the home team. I think there should be some advantages to being the higher seeded club.
One away for Brian Chelensky, and I certainly agree with you wholeheartedly. Because if they are thinking, as you said, hey, they're in different conferences, then why bother to seed them in the first place? Just draw the names out of a hat. But they bother to seed them and then allow the home team, the higher seed, to have a home field advantage until the final. And I'm just surprised they don't stay with that format. Especially since baseball is one of the few games where there is a true advantage to being the home team. In football, the field's 100 yards long either way. I mean, baseball is true. It's 90 feet regardless of where you play. But by batting last, you do have an advantage. You know what you have to do in the bottom of the 7th.
That advantage will go to Brearley, though. Here, they won the coin toss.
Using my quarter.
Miracle, it turned into 30 cents.
Grounded on the left side, knocked down there by Gurney. He gets up, makes the long toss, and it might have pulled Dave Kennedy off the bag. But Brian Chelensky is in with an infield single.
Gurney made a nice play on it, diving to his left to make the play. Came up with the throw, and Chelensky with pretty decent speed getting down the line. We'll take a look at it. Gurney dives. Now he knows he's got to make a quick play. Gets up fairly quick, throws it, and let's see whether or not the throw pulls Kennedy off the bag. Oh boy, I'll tell you, that's awfully close. It's hard to tell from that angle. Certainly the throw beat Chelensky to the base. It's hard to tell whether or not Kennedy's foot was on the base or came off, but it looked from that angle as if he was out.
It certainly was pulling his foot off, and it was hard to tell whether his toe did stay on the base. But Chelensky is on with a one-out infield single. For the Bears, it is their 3rd hit of the game. Mike Vergura will step in. Will the Bears try and move him over? Glenridge thinks so. Egan takes the pitch for a strike. Glenridge has some unusual plays, and there you just barely saw second baseman Paul Santoro jogging out of your screen. Lou Calderon likes to have Santoro come in to field the ball on obvious bunting situation. And they're a variation of that play where Santoro fakes coming in, follows behind the first baseman for a pickoff attempt. Now the defense is back to normal arrangements as Glenridge feels that Brearley will not try to bunt over.
Well, Vigor did not square. Let's see if it's on here.
Vigor grounded out to end the 2nd inning, fielder's choice. Swing and a miss.
Big cut that time by the lefty.
Pat Olenek is on deck. Ralph LeConte goes through the signs. And unlike the Scotch Plains Elizabeth game, we do not have the signs. Just misses. Glenridge fans asking the eternal question, where was it, ump?
As an umpire, you make a call, you know you're going to please half the people and anger the other half.
Vergara swinging strike 2. Full counts. There are the red-clad Glenridge fans. Payoff pitch, swing and a miss. It is strikeout number 5 for Vinges.
Well, he comes back, didn't like a call 2 pitches ago, but comes back and is able to strike out Vigor. Breaking pitch going outside, Vigor going after it. Can't come up with it.
2 down, Pat Olenek. junior right fielder moves in. He is 0 for 1, having struck out as a leadoff hitter in the 3rd inning. Brian Chelensky still down at first base. You got a view that time of what Vinges' motion is doing to runners, in this case Brian Chelensky. Just because of the way his form is, the runners are having difficulty getting a good lead. There you saw Brian leaning back towards the bag, even as Vinges was delivering towards his plate. Tough to be a runner with a lefty pitcher.
And that little step back toward the base could be all the difference in the world in your ability to take an extra base on, say, a base hit to right field here. Or even later on in the ball game, whether or not you're able to come home from second, say, on a base hit. Because don't forget, Kinney got picked off earlier in the ball game in the 2nd inning.
Tough for high school base runners. You so rarely see a left-handed pitcher. And if you don't have one on your team where you can get some practice in. Olenek skies one out of play.
Yesterday, I was speaking with Ralph LeConte, and we were just going down lefty-righty in terms of batting and throwing, and he does have a couple of left-handers that he puts up there to the plate for Gora and Holzaffel, and also Mike Russinello. But I said, how about a lefty thrower? He said, if you got one, let me know.
Discussion out on the mound as Ralph Rotundo just rubbing up the ball for Tim Vinges.
Ralph's got a big chew going, too. Really working it.
You were into that for a while.
I was mentioning to Tom Sharkey, our statistician, he had pointed it out to me earlier. I said, you know, this is the first year I haven't been chewing.
And coincidentally, the first year you're married.
I also pointed that out to Tom, too.
Oh.
I had worked my way up from the little packets, the little pouches you put between your cheek and gum, up to the full chew. Love the full chew.
Rain coming down harder.
Yeah, probably the hardest has fallen all afternoon.
As we talk about oral cancer. 2-2. 2 outs with Chelensky on first. And Vinges records the strikeout. So Vinges strikes out 2 in a row to end the 4th inning. And we may be here a while because we have gone through 4 and no one has really had an honest threat. Scoreless through 4.
Hi, I'm Jonathan B. Bell from Z100.
And I'm Molly Barber, along with Mickey Mouse, Marie Osmond, and John Schneider. We're here at Disneyland, where with your help, dreams really do come true, on June 4th and 5th.
It's the Children's Miracle Network Telethon, the world's largest effort to help children.
You'll meet some of the greatest stars anywhere and also see some kids from Children's Hospital of New Jersey and Children's Specialized Hospital in Mountainside.
And remember, 100% of your contribution stays right here in New York and New Jersey.
So join us live at Disneyland on Suburban Cablevision TV3 and CTN.
And remember,
it's a small world after all.
Well, there's the part of the crowd hoping for some shelter as the rain has picked up. We head for the 5th inning, scoreless ball game for the Section 2 Group 1 championship. So far, Mike Chelensky has struck out every batter except Egan and Santoro. He has 9 strikeouts on the day, and the second batter due up in the inning is Paul Santoro. Steve Claps leads it off. He takes a pitch inside as the rain comes down. Warming up just behind us is, well, will be Dave Kennedy as soon as he gets a warm-up catcher. 1-1 the count.
That ball went off of Vigora's glove and hit him where it hurts. He's shaking it off. He might have caught him in the thigh. Let's see what happens. Goes off the end of his glove. Went up for it off the end of the glove, and yeah, it looked like it went off his thigh or perhaps the lower part of his shin.
Turned and hit him on the outer part of the thigh. That's where I thought.
Yeah.
Smashed. Brian Chelensky gets a glove on it, and it will be an infield single for Claps. And Brian Chelensky made a great attempt at that one, and it probably came up more flesh than glove.
The left side of the infield is so strong for this Brearley club. They really are a good defensive group. Wicked shot hit. And Cholensky gets his hand on it, but it bounces towards short, and there's no way they're going to get clapped. She's got pretty good speed.
Leadoff runner on for the Ridgers. Here's Paul Santoro. He drew a walk in his only plate appearance. He might be looking to move the runner over.
Well, the way Cholensky's pitching, I think you've got to try to build for the one.
You've got to assume that one run is all that either team will see today. Brian Cholensky moving in. That pitch is taken.
With Kennedy warming up, Lou Calderon wants to get his first baseman loosened up in case he's got to bring him in. Perhaps he only wanted to get 4 innings out of Vinges.
Santoro fouls it back. Dave Kennedy just waiting for his warm-up catcher to find a ball that just trailed off into the woods. He has picked up an extra ball right now. So it appears that Lou Calderon has thoughts of bringing in the ace of his staff.
And what a change. Finch is not overpowering, great control. Here comes the big fireball if he does make the change.
Maguro's throw down to first. Claps easily back.
Vinge's strength has been his control. He's thrown the ball exactly where Egan's placed the glove. Has not been overpowering. Now you're going to bring in a guy who can bring the ball up there in the 80s and in the upper 80s.
And I would almost guarantee that Kennedy will not come in to start the inning, but rather is just warming up if needed to come in from first base.
And Vinges has pitched very well.
Claps on. Santoro again squares around. This time drops it. Brian Cholensky fields it with the glove, throws over to first. Foucher making the play there. So Santoro gives up his turn at bat to build a run.
Brian Cholensky kind of soft tossed it over there. Santoro got the ball away from Mike Cholensky, did a good job getting the ball toward the third base side. Now, Brian Cholensky says, yeah, that's my only play, and kind of soft tosses this. Sometimes you throw those away.
Well, it did scare me, and I think it scared you also. At first, it looked like it was going to take off, but because he threw it so lightly, it did start to drop down. Kyle Scherzer, 0 for 1, strikeout victim. So with one away and Claps on second, Scherzer and Foster will try to bring him around. Popped up, possibly playable for Vergara or Cholensky. Cholensky makes the call, and it is Mike Cholensky who puts it away for the second out. We talked that there is not much room in foul territory, but for the Brearley Bears, there is enough.
Vergara did the right thing for a catcher. Got to the fence first, and then, if he had to, would have backtracked. But Cholensky in good position coming off the mound to make the play.
2 away. Rick Foster, number 9 hitter, the DH. Vergara also made the wise decision to allow Mike Cholensky to grab the ball, because in high school ball, with the overhanging backstops in most fields, catchers don't often get a chance to field pop-ups like that with the glove that it's certainly not made to catch pop-ups. There's Claps on second. He represents the go-ahead run in this scoreless ball game. Foster, the DH, is batting for Chris Gurney.
Glen Ridge would love to see Foster get on in any way, shape, or form and have Egan come to the plate with a runner in scoring position.
Three and 0. Right now, that any way, shape, or form is starting to look like a walk for Foster. Foster squares around just to distract Cholensky, and it is a strike. There's Claps with the lead off of second. Here's the 3-1. Strike 2. So even though Foster was about 30 feet down the baseline, he will come back.
Greg Molinaro has not made friends on either side here.
Payoff pitch. Runner going. It is lofted into left field. Castaldo coming on, and he will make the putout for the 3rd out of the inning. So Glen Ridge tries to mount something here in the 5th, but the threat dies. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on base. Headed for the bottom of the 5th, scoreless.
Hello, I'm Essex County Sheriff Tom DeLisio. Our Sheriff's Office provides a fully trained bomb squad for the citizens of Essex County. Our FBI-certified bomb technicians are trained to respond to terrorist attacks involving bomb threats. Sheriff's Bomb Squad also fields a K-9 explosive detecting team. Bomb Squad members are available to demonstrate safety procedures for emergencies. The Bomb Squad is available around the clock. Contact the Sheriff's Office at 621-4111.
All spring sports, with the exception of baseball, will have come to a close this weekend. And on Thursday's edition of Time In, we'll wrap up the spring season and look ahead to the baseball championship, see if any of the teams from our area have advanced to the championship game. And that'll be June 9th at 6:30. Paul, I have to compliment you on that move. 3 innings after it rained, getting an umbrella for us. At this point, not much good it's going to do. I'm completely soaked. You're completely soaked. All our notes are wet. And I think it's starting to lighten up. But
would you prefer that I stand 5 feet away from you?
No, not at all.
All right. Home half of the 5th. Holzapfel, Capizano, Foucher. 9, 1, and 2. I see those people have wet umbrellas. Mine's still dry.
Well, those people just don't know how to take care of their umbrellas.
We are in Parsippany at George Johnson Field for the Section 2 Group 1 Championship. And as opposed to the 2 semifinals these teams had to play, where runs came in bunches, they could have saved some of them for this afternoon. Holzapfel flied out to center field, trying to dry his hand off on somebody's shirt that's been tied to the backstop. Little looper towards left field. Claps, dives for it, will not make the play. It is a foul ball.
Holzapfel has not heard the call. And now Ralph Rotundo just wants to clarify with Molinaro that the foul ball call was made. They have defended Holzapfel very well. Last time he flew out to left center field with Scherzer perfectly positioned. Here Claps shaded toward the line, almost came up with a great play.
Claps making the diving effort. But it is strike 1 to Scott Holzapfel. For the second time today, Tim Riley is warming up for the Brearley Bears. There's Riley lightly tossing down the right field foul line. Two and one.
Well, at this point, you don't want to get caught short. Even though Chelensky's pitching very well, you want to make sure that you've got a guy ready in case you've got to go to him. You don't want to have to wait a batter or two before you bring a guy in.
3 and 1.
And that's the same reason that Kennedy was warming up last inning. You don't want to run into a position where you say, well, I've got to get to another guy here because he's not warmed up.
Well, Kennedy did get in about 5 minutes worth of throwing. Lou Calderon had him up as the Ridgers were batting. Ball 4. So Holzapfel draws the 4th walk of the day. And he is on as a leadoff runner here in the home half of the 5th. Joe Capizano leading off. He is 1 for 2 today.
Let's see whether or not they try to sacrifice Holzappel to second.
That's the plan, and a nice bunt by Capizano. Vinges throws over to Kennedy, who stayed on the base. So Holzappel moves up 90 feet. Capizano sacrificing the runner over, and with one away, it'll be Foucher, followed by Mike Chelensky.
Good job by Capizano, pushing it up the first base side. Vinges with no other play. So now a runner in scoring position for Gary Foucher as Brearley tries to build and get that one run. And the way Chelensky has been pitching, they feel that one will be enough.
Now thinking one batter ahead here. If Glen Ridge is able to retire Foucher without allowing Holzappel to move over, do we again intentionally walk Mike Chelensky? Since at that point, first base would be open.
Last time with first and second, they pitched around him, an intentional walk, essentially, to load the bases to get to Castaldo. And they got Castaldo swinging to get out of the inning.
But as we said, that's one batter ahead. Right now it belongs to Foucher. Swing and a miss, strike one.
With the outfield wet now, it has slowed down just a little bit. A base hit, it won't be easy for the outfielders to get a good throw off.
That's the way the outfield is positioned from center to right against Foucher. Takes the ball. Scoreless ball game. Home half of the 5th. Scott Holzappel at second. Gary Foucher at the plate with one away. There's Dave Kennedy. He is ready to come in if needed. Here's one other quick point we should mention. If there is a single, Holzappel would have to run through that muck at shortstop. And he is going to run through it right now. The ball gets away from Egan, and on the hit-first dive with no throw, Holzappel is in safely. And he just negates the point I brought up by advancing on the wild pitch.
Lou Calderon's going to come out and talk to Tim Vinges. Vinges has been wild down in the dirt this whole inning. Now he's going to come out and talk to him. Holzappel going down to third easily with the head-first slide. No throw made. Now let's see whether Lou Calderon makes a change here or whether or not he just discusses strategy. One man down, a runner at third. It looks like he's just discussing strategy. He's going to continue to go with Vinges. An exciting, exciting ball game. And that man represents the go-ahead run, the only run that will have scored should he come across.
Vinges, 4 1/3 inning, struck out 6, walked 4. Most important walk right now is the one to Holzappel. The infield will play in for Glen Ridge. Is it possible we may see a squeeze play?
It's possible.
Then you take the bat out of Mike Chelensky's hands. Strike at the knees. Because if the squeeze play is unsuccessful, and there's Chelensky on deck, and the runner from third is retired and you have a runner at first, well, you take the big bat out of his hand.
Well, with 2 strikes now, it'll be off.
But ball 4 allows Foucher to go to first. And again, baseball strategy comes into play. Does Ralph LaConte immediately send Foucher to not only get another runner in scoring position, but also to avoid the double play? And if that happens, do the Ridgers throw through? Well, it appears Lou Calderon has told his defense to back up, go for 2.
I think if Foucher tries to go, if he tries to steal, they'll try to make the play.
5th walk for Vinges. No movement, ball 1. Cholensky walked in the third, grounded out in his first plate appearance. Foucher at first, holds Apple at third. One and one. Swing and a miss by Mike Cholensky.
Big home run cut by Cholensky. Way out in front of it, swinging from the heels.
This is certainly the situation Ralph LeConte would have wanted. His premier hitter at the plate with the game on the line. Swing and a miss, strike two.
I wouldn't expect him now to throw anything good to Cholensky. Let's see where Egan sets up.
And assuming that a curveball or some off-speed pitch is coming, let's see if Foucher is going to move on this pitch.
Looking outside corner.
Well, instead it was a fastball outside. 2-2.
Problem is, if you're going to miss inside, he could pull the ball and drill it for a homer, or certainly do some serious damage.
Well, there's some damage towards second. Santoro flips to Melito for one. The return throw not in time, and the run scores. So the Ridgers tried for the double play. It is what they had set up for, but they cannot convert it as Cholensky beats the throw down the line. And the Bears lead 1-0 here in the fifth.
The infield grass is a little high. It has slowed the balls down all afternoon. It was going to be a tough play right from the start. The rain has also slowed things down, and you could tell they were going to have trouble because it was a slow hit ball. Santoro with the flip to Melito, and Melito with, even if Kennedy was not pulled off the bag, even if that throw was dead on, Cholensky might have beaten it out.
And a nice slide by Foucher, because as he slid towards the outfield side of the base, he forced Melito to come wider, maybe delaying his throw. Either way, Holtzapfel scores. RBI for Cholensky. 2 down for Vito Castaldo. For Mike Cholensky, his 18th ribby of the year. Castaldo skies it towards center field. Scherzer coming in, and the inning is over. But in the fifth, the Bears score 1 run, and they do it without benefit of a base hit. There were no errors and 1 runner left on base. Through 5, the Bears jump out in front 1-0 in the sectional final.
I'm Steve Adubato for Caucus, New Jersey. Join me this season as we examine some of New Jersey's most controversial issues. From the arts to politics, from cities to state takeovers. This is not just another talk show. So tune in on Fridays at 7:30 and Mondays at 9, only on TV3.
Hi, I'm Jonathan B. Bell from Z100.
And I'm Molly Barber, along with Mickey Mouse, Marie Osmond, and John Schneider. We're here at Disneyland, where with your help, dreams really do come true, on June 4th and 5th.
It's the Children's Miracle Network Telethon, the world's largest effort to help children.
You'll meet some of the greatest stars anywhere and also see some kids from Children's Hospital of New Jersey and Children's Specialized Hospital in Mountainside.
And remember, 100% of your contribution stays right here in New York and New Jersey.
So join us live at Disneyland on Suburban Cablevision TV3 and CTN.
And remember,
it's a small world after all.
Welcome back to Parsippany. Paul Spahala, Matt Lachlan on the call in the home half of the fifth. Mike Cholensky's ground out scored Scott Holtzapfel, and the Bears lead 1-0 as we head for the 6th inning. Through 5, Cholensky has struck out 9 of the 15 outs recorded. He has walked only 2, but it is back to the top of the order for the Glen Ridge Ridgers, and it's also back to Matt Lachlan.
Thank you, Paul. In that last inning, Glen Ridge had it defensed perfectly. They set up for 2. They just couldn't turn it. And so Brearley takes a lead into the top half of the 6th inning. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 in the order to face Cholensky: Scott Egan, Mark Melito, and Dave Kennedy.
3 things went against Glen Ridge. The ball was hit slowly. The grass is a little high. We talked about that earlier, but because it became so wet, it slowed the ball down even more. So the factors went against Glen Ridge, even though the theory was sound.
And Chelensky's got good speed.
Oh.
He's not a blazer. He's not going to run 110.3, but he's got good speed. Here's the 0-1 to Egan. Off-speed pitch bounces in the dirt. 1-1. Chelensky has thrown 4 shutouts this year. If this is his 5th, Brearley goes on to the semifinal round. Fastball gets the corner. It's 1-2.
Well, the Bears have that one run that you spoke of, and I'm sure they want more, but they feel that one can be enough with him on the mound.
The winner of this game takes on the Waldwick-Pompton Lakes game on Tuesday. Solid shot to left field, but playing very deep is Castaldo and puts it away. Castaldo almost playing Egan at the fence. In fact, he had to come in about 4 steps for that ball.
At first, Castaldo started back, and Egan knows he just missed this one. Well, he got the barrel there.
Look how deep Castaldo is. He's got to come in for it.
Started back, knowing that he didn't want to run out of room. And then he came in and made the grab.
First pitch to Melito is inside for a ball. So the danger is Scott Egan retired on a fly ball to left. 1 down in the 6th. Melito has struck out and has flied out. Goes opposite field and deep. Olenek going back and can't catch as he slips and falls. Melito heads for second and he'll be held there. Olenek's feet got caught up underneath him and he slipped and fell. He's upset with himself. I thought the ball was hit much deeper, Paul. I didn't think Olenek had a shot at it from the crack of the bat, and then it looked like he was going to make the catch.
Here it appears he's going to make it. Now he starts to lose his footing. He makes the dive for the ball and misses it. Melito will end up on second base with our first extra base hit of the day.
A double for Mark Melito, a runner in scoring position. His 5th double of the year, and here's Dave Kennedy with the tying run at second. Kennedy with one of the 3 Glen Ridge hits today. Singled in the 1st, stole second, but was stranded when Vinges struck out to end the inning. Now Ralph LeConte comes out to talk to Mike Chelensky. Mike Vigora will join him. Those 3 will discuss the situation. And now the infield will come in and join the huddle at the mound. Mark Melito comes down to Lou Calderon. Lou Calderon is saying, don't get picked off.
If it is to be Tim Riley as the relief pitcher, we know he is ready, but 2 things. Mike Chelensky, a fierce competitor. His arm would have to be broken in 2 places for him to come out. And again, Ralph LeConte certainly is a smart coach. He is not going to take out the man who has won so many games for him this year.
I think he just wants to check with Mike to make sure he's feeling okay and that there's no tightening of the arm, because the last 2 balls have been hard hit. Egan's to deep left, and then Melito's shot to deep right. And here's Kennedy. Melito with the lead off of second. Fouled out of play.
Let's remember back in the 1st inning, Dave Kennedy got around on a Mike Chelensky fastball. As a matter of fact, too far around. And he drilled it about 300 feet, but more importantly, 20 feet wide. 300 feet foul.
The Brearley outfielders playing very deep. Kinney very deep in center. Castaldo way back in left. And Olenek had just taken a couple of steps back in right. It will not be easy for them to get a little flair. Fair ball down the line into left. Castaldo chases it down. Melito rounds third. Here's the throw. He'll score. Going down to second is Kennedy, and we're tied at 1.
The pitch Dave Kennedy was waiting for. And the hit that ties it up. Although we expected them to be our pitching matchup today, Chelensky and Kennedy have been our hitting matchup. Each have driven in the only runs for their teams.
Kennedy, an intense competitor, pumped his arms once he reached second. Drilled that ball down the line, Paul. Melito scoring easily. Perhaps Castaldo could have and should have thought about Kennedy moving up behind the throw, because a runner in scoring position for Vinges, who takes the first pitch for a strike.
Kennedy now represents the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Kennedy's 32nd and perhaps biggest run batted in of the year.
His 6th double.
We talked about the confidence Brearley has in Chilinsky and getting that one run they feel they've won it. Now, turn the tables a little bit. Look at the flip side, the B side. Glen Ridge has gotten to Chilinsky. They feel that they perhaps can continue to build here. Opposite field shot, is it fair or foul? A fair ball down the line. Kennedy will score. Vinges headed for second. They're gonna try to send him to third. Here comes the throw to Capizano, the relay to Brian Chilinsky, sails high, backed up by Mike Chilinsky, and Vinges at third, and Kennedy scoring ahead of him gives Glen Ridge a 2-1 lead.
4 batters in a row have hit the ball hard. Vinges going the opposite way, pokes it down the right field line. Fair by just enough. And since it was fair, no doubt at all that Dave Kennedy would triumphantly score the go-ahead run.
A triple for Tim Vinges, and Glen Ridge leads 2-1. Ralph LeConte is coming out to talk to Mike Chilinsky.
Back-to-back-to-back extra base hits for the Ridgers. A double by Melito, a double by Kennedy, and a triple by Vinges.
Vinges' second triple of the year, and his 31st run batted in.
Conference on the mound. Now the question, as we see Dave Kennedy, who scored the go-ahead run, he is ready to pitch. Could he come out of the bullpen as the stopper?
Well, looking at who will come to the plate, you've got Kenny, Brian Chilinsky, and Mike Vergora. Only one of those batters, Chilinsky, has gotten a hit off of Vinges. I say you let Vinges go. He has not pitched badly at all.
A couple of innings ago, we talked about the home field advantage. Here it is. Brearley knows that regardless of what happens in the rest of this inning, they have 6 outs left to play with.
Ralph LeConte calling the infield in. Would you try to get a third run with a squeeze here? 1 down. Vinges at third. Diamond the batter. Diamond has struck out twice, once looking, once swinging. He thought something might have been on.
Diamond has 3 sacrifices this year. Is it possible that Lou Calderon will try to get an insurance run on the squeeze?
Paul, you talked about the possibility of Kennedy coming in to pitch. He has gone down the left field line to warm up.
Just walking past us, there he is. Down the left field line.
1-1 the count to Kane Diamond. Runner at third is Tim Vinges. 1 man down, top half of the 6th inning. Foul tipped into the glove of Vergora. It's 1-2. So now no threat of the squeeze here.
However, the infield still in.
2-1 ball game.
And the outfield a lot closer than previously.
Inside and tight, it's 2-2. Kinney continues to play fairly deep in center, but Olenek and Castaldo have moved in from positions they have held earlier. There's Kinney out in center, playing fairly deep against Diamond.
This will be Mike Chilinsky's 100th pitch.
And Diamond fouls it off. Count holds it 2-2. Chilinsky has struck out 9. He has walked 2. He has given up 5 hits, 3 of them in this inning. Swung on and missed at the high, hard one. Strikeout number 10 for Chilinsky. 3rd time that Diamond has struck out.
With the 2nd out, the Brearley defense can relax and move back. High, hard one. Up around the letters for Chelensky, his 10th strikeout. The defense will move back to normal depth, with the exception of Brian Chelensky.
Fastball, call strike one to Steve Claps. Claps 1 for 2. Has struck out and singled. Singled in the 5th, was sacrificed the 2nd, but stranded there. Fastball way high, but Claps goes after it. It's 0-2.
Steve would like to have that one back. That one just sailed away. He saw it in his eyes and went for it. And as soon as he swung, he knew he should not have.
Claps stepping out, now back in. Here's the 0-2. Heat high. Santoro on deck. Scott Egan began the inning with a long fly ball to left field. Mark Melito doubled to right on a ball that Olenek could have caught but slipped and fell. 2-2. Following Melito's double, Kennedy drilled a double down the line into left to score Melito. Vinges followed with a triple to right to score Kennedy. 2-1 our score. Just got a piece. The first 4 batters to come up, though, hit the ball very solidly. 2 opposite field pokes and 2 solid shots that were pulled. There's Santoro, awaiting his turn should Claps get on. Brearley scored their run in the 5th. The way Chelensky was pitching, you thought that would have been enough, but the Glen Ridge bats have come alive. Fouled behind home plate and out of play. Glen Ridge entering the ball game, batting .392, averaging 10.6 runs per ball game. So you knew it would be difficult to silence them throughout, but the way Chelensky was throwing, you thought that that would happen. Count goes full at 3-2 to Steve Claps.